Hey amigos, hope you're doing well. Today's episode we're going to be doing Viennese Whirls, and we're also going to do shortbread finger biscuits dipped in chocolate. So what are Viennese Whirls? So I've kind of given it away. So basically shortbread piped into little whirl shapes and then obviously baked until nice and crispy and then filled with a buttercream and jam into a nice little cheeky sandwich. So we're also going to be making the buttercream obviously, and obviously the jam, and then those cheeky fingers dipped in chocolate. So hope you're going to enjoy today's episode. So the first thing we want to do is wash a pound of strawberries. Now if you want to do half of this recipe, that's absolutely fine. So this recipe is actually on my scone video, so if you want to refer to it, you can go there, but we'll cheekily go for it very quickly. So after a washing, we're going to top and tail these, well, more tops than tails, and then cut them in half and then chuck them straight into our pan. So there's our pound of strawberries, and what we're going to add to it, we're going to add 104 grams of caster sugar. In addition, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or half a lemon. Then we're going to put the strawberries onto a medium heat, giving it a little cheeky stir, and then cooking this down very gently for about 40 minutes until it's nice and thick. So next we're going to actually start making that beautiful mixture for the Viennese Whirls. Now super important to bear in mind, there's 2 ways we're doing this. So you've got to make sure that your butter is super soft. If it's not super soft, it's a little bit more firm, you're going to have trouble piping it. Now there is another option which you want to do if you want to risk it for a biscuit. You can add a little touch of milk to the mixture, so it'll actually help make it more pipeable. So before we risk it for a biscuit, we're going to turn the oven on. So we need to turn it on to 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. In a mixing bowl, we're going to need 60 grams of sieved icing sugar or powdered sugar. In the second mixing bowl, we're going to sieve 200 grams of plain cheeky flour. In addition, 2 cheeky pinches of granulated salt. Also half a teaspoon of baking powder. And also 5 grams of cornstarch or corn flour. So we're going to need 200 grams of soft butter. Bloop. Perfect. I'm going to start this onto a slow speed just to cream that butter first. So once that's been beaten around for about 30 seconds, we're going to add the icing sugar to the mix. And be careful the mix isn't on too high, otherwise it's going to go up in your mouth. Ugh. Like so. And just give it a little bit more cheeky speed, just to beat that up until soften it up. So once that's creamed nicely, we're going to add the dry ingredients in and then pop it back onto a low speed. In addition, also not forgetting a cheeky little bit of vanilla extract, just a teaspoon in there. You don't want to go too crazy with this. Now if your mix isn't quite tacky, you can add about a teaspoon of milk. Not much, just a little drop, which will help add a little bit of tackiness to it. And your mix should be looking something like that. Just a little bit kind of tacky, so absolutely perfect consistency. Also, don't forget to check on your jam. Mine's been about 20-30 minutes, so this is about ready. So I'm going to pull this off, set that aside, let it cool down. So you're going to need a baking tray with a silicone mat. If you haven't, parchment, and then squeeze a little dollop on each side to hold it down. We're also going to need a piping bag as well with a star-shaped nozzle. And we're going to fill this about halfway to begin with. If you fill it all the way to the top, you might find it hard to pipe, so start with half first to begin with. So you want to do some nice little cheeky swirls. Now you can pipe these however big you want, it's entirely up to you. So we're going to go for roughly about, I would say just about roughly that size, which is I'd say about 3 to 4 centimeters in diameter. So there we go. You should have about roughly 15 swirls. Obviously the shortbread fingers, we're going to get another tray with a silicone mat or parchment paper, whichever you've got. So I'm going to set this aside. So as you can see, I kind of overfilled the bag a little bit. So you make sure you guys just fill it halfway. And you should get about roughly 12 to 13 fingers. I got lucky number 13, so happy days. So we're going to pop these both in the oven. They're going to take roughly about 10 to 12 minutes, just until slightly golden on top. So here they are, amigos. Absolutely fantastic with a nice little cheeky bit of color on them. And obviously those beautiful biscuits as well, the fingers. But just be careful, do just a little bit of space and make sure you got enough space because they will spread a little bit. So while those cheeky biscuits are cooling down, we're going to make the buttercream. So we're going to need ourselves 155 grams of unsalted butter. So we're going to pop them in there, nice and soft. Don't want it hard, otherwise you're going to be struggling. In addition, we're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract into the butter as well. So we're adding 175 grams of icing sugar or powdered sugar, little by little to the mix. and making sure it doesn't go everywhere. If you add it all at once, it's going to go poof in your face, so just be very careful. Or you can do this on the KitchenAid if you want to. I'm just going to do this by hand, as we're not making a huge deal of buttercream today. So once you finish covering yourself with icing sugar, goodness me, chef, what we're going to do is set this aside, and we're going to actually start melting some chocolate down for those cheeky biscuits. So the next thing for the chocolate, we're going to get a pan of water onto the stove to simmer. So we want 150 grams of high quality milk chocolate, or if you want to go for a cheeky bit of dark, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to pop it over the simmering water to melt for a couple of minutes, just giving it a little cheeky stir. Already got ahead of myself. The chocolate's melted very nicely, and what we're going to do is just very carefully dip each of the shortbread into the chocolate. And then what we're going to do is just place it on top of the parchment paper there, just to kind of set very nicely. Beautiful. And then just to give these a little cheeky finish, just going to add a little touch of white chocolate on there, just to kind of finish these off. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. And if you're wondering what that is on my finger, trapping your finger in the fridge door, never a fun game, so always be careful. Now we're going to pipe these with the buttercream, so I'll pop this into a bag with a piping nozzle in there. What we want to do is flip one over, leave one, flip one over, leave one. So those are going to be the lids to go on the top. So you don't want to be piping all of them. So what we're going to do is just carefully pipe a bit of buttercream all the way around in the middle. Leave the middle hole, as we're going to fill that with some nice little cheeky bit of jam. So that beautiful jam is cooled down, it's ready to rock and roll. So what we want to do, just grab yourself a little cheeky half a teaspoon in there. If you can grab yourself enough there, perfect. And then just very carefully plop a little dollop on there. And then with that beautiful bit of top to go on there, absolutely fantastic. So in addition, we're going to do the fingers as well. So just very carefully holding it still, just pipe a little bit of that buttercream in the middle. And if you want to put a bit of jam in there, you can also do that if you want. We're going to leave the jam out, and we're going to just pop that beautiful top on top of that. Look at that, absolutely fantastic. And then just to give it that little finishing touch, I'm just going to add just a little bit of icing sugar, just to finish off those little cheeky bad boys. And there it is, amigos. Those delicious Viennese Whirls, and also the shortbread finger. I know, my finger. Dipped in the chocolate, white chocolate on top, and obviously the buttercream. And then the Viennese Whirls. We have the homemade jam, the buttercream. Absolutely delightful. Give this a try, guys. You won't be disappointed. And that's it for this week, amigos. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to check me out live cooking some very delightful dishes on Twitch, Tuesday to Friday, 10 AM Mountain Time. The link is below in the description box. Also, next week, we're not going to be here, so we'll be here the following Monday on the 24th of February. So we'll be back into the full swing of things. But until then, amigos, stay cheeky.